Welcome, everyone, to the Predicted Podcast, where we analyze the news through prediction markets. I'm your co-host, Jacob Studwell. I'm here with Garth Yuckham. Garth, I have egg all over my face, metaphorically, of course. War Powers resolution. I really
Yep.
got greedy. I wanted to dance on your grave, as I said last week.
You did.
And the phone calls that President Trump made to those Josh Hawley and one other senator who voted it down.
Young from Indiana.
Rough. I mean, they just trust him. They trust Marco. They trust Trump. They said, look, they're not going to do anything without asking.
Sufficient concessions from the White House.
Hey, they play the game well. I'm sufficiently impressed, honestly, with how this went down. Definitely a big win for the president there, and a huge loss for me, of course, because it's all about my trades, right? What's funny is, because it was such a small or a buy at such a low price, I have gained a little bit of money. Similar to, I think, your gains on the government shutdown market. You bought it at like 71 cents. Now it's 75 cents. I bought the War Powers resolution at 11 cents. It's now at 14 cents. So, we both have some time. Mine's by February 27th. Yours is by February 2nd. So I actually have a little bit more time. I think the only way this goes down positively for me is if they do some more action in Venezuela. We need some more action.
They invade Venezuela again? Perhaps?
I guess. I mean, I saw the CIA director met with the current acting president yesterday. So you never know. I don't know.
I don't know. That Nobel Peace Prize offering at the White House yesterday. I think your goose is cooked. Just want to put it out there.
Oh my god!
Now, is this me dancing on your grave though?
Yes, it really is. It really is. You know what? I think I should just sell and move on. Is that giving up? Is that really sad? Should I just sell for a small profit and get on the board?
Wait. But are you selling for a profit?
Yeah, it's 14 cents right now. So
you made some money.
I made a little bit of money. So, all right, that's
it. And a lesson was learned.
Hit that trade button. A big lesson. I'm selling for a minute profit, but I am officially on the board, Garth. That's huge.
You are officially on the board, and you can use your proceeds for what we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. We're going to go over all of the March primaries. This is going to be your guide to the March primaries today. We have lots of data. We have lots of polling. Going to get into it for sure. So let's make my week a little bit better. Kyle Tucker signed with the Dodgers last night, so I need a recovery day.
Yeah.
But we'll get into some more baseball in a little bit as well. You'll know when it happens. But let's start off with March 3rd. We have Texas is the huge primary day here. We have James Tallarico, and Jasmine Crockett on the Democratic side for Senate. This will happen again on March 3rd. On the Democratic side, we are expecting the winner to take the majority of the votes. So there won't be a runoff, most likely, on the Democratic side. On the Republican side, there most likely will be a runoff. But let's stay with Tallarico and Crockett. We did have some Emerson polling conducted from January 10th. January 12th came out yesterday. Basically, we saw Tallarico up 9 points in the head-to-head. And then we also got a bunch of general matchups as well. We saw Tallarico against Hunt and Cornyn and Paxton, and we saw Crockett up against the same as well. Looks like Tallarico fares better against, or I guess they both fare really well against Paxton, which is funny because he's currently leading. We did see, I think Hunt got some really good numbers there that he'll probably tout across the board against both Tallarico and Crockett, which is super interesting. And Cornyn got better numbers against Crockett than he did against Tallarico, up 6 points against Crockett and 3 points against Tallarico. I don't love polling when it's general, general matchups, when we haven't figured out the primary yet. I just think in terms of name recognition, in terms of what's actually going to go down, we there's too many options, and I think people don't fully understand what's going on. So I am really hoping to stick to just the Talarico Crockett head-to-head polling here. And if we look at fundraising, we had Talarico raise $13 million since he entered the race last September. And Crockett hasn't yet released a fourth quarter total, which is probably a bad sign, right, Garth?
I mean, she did kind of jump in December, so she was doing a different thing and decided to veer left. Um, so I'm not that concerned. I would like to also highlight the undecideds here. It's a pretty big chunk that's on both sides, actually, on the Republican side and on the Democratic side. With what, 45, 46 days to go until primary day. People sound like they haven't fully tuned in. So I think you're right to say that about where the race is at the moment. I think this poll is definitely significant to a certain degree. The uncertainty around Crockett and her persona. If you dive deeper into the numbers, she's scoring where she's supposed to score. And Talarico is also scoring where he's supposed to score. So I think once we do see a number, a fundraising number, we might have a better sense. Also, some spending numbers would be nice to see.
Yeah.
And just kind of see where they're at. But this race feels very truncated, very like it's going to speed up. We're going to hit February, and it's just going to really kind of pack it in.
Yeah.
Especially as the holidays are over, people are back at work, people are paying more attention. The ads are going to start flying. So
Yeah, it's a good point. So Notice had a report out yesterday that Mark Andreessen, conservative tech billionaire, Winklevoss twins, BlackRock's PAC, Lockheed Martin's PAC, all donated to Jasmine Crockett's Senate campaign. So a lot more of that AstroTurf vibe on Jasmine Crockett there. So interesting to keep note of
But
that.
that makes a lot of sense, though. If you look at the Republican numbers in the poll, I mean, Cornyn especially is doing really well against
Mhm.
both. I mean, obviously he's the incumbent. He's the middle of the road guy. If Paxton does beat him or Trump swoops in and gives an endorsement, we've got ourselves, a race, a real race, I think. But yeah, that's the AstroTurf stuff's great.
It
It
definitely
really
adds a,
is.
a certain weird flavor, like what do we make of
Definitely.
that? It's very funky.
It's
She'll get money. I mean, it's donations. It's fundraising. So we
exactly.
will have a debate between Crockett and Talarico on January 24th in Georgetown, and early voting starts February 17th and goes on for 10 days to February 27th. So like you said, Garth, once February hits, honestly, I think once that debate hits, all bets are off. I think those undecided numbers will drop precipitously right after that debate. Honestly, I think it's a really good buy to take Talarico before the debate, just judging by how news and noteworthy Jasmine Crockett can be on the bad side of things, and how eloquent Talarico, again, pastor, can be with words. I think the Talarico buy before the debate, just make sure you kind of get in your buys there, because that's where everyone will be tuning in, and the market will probably move in reaction to that.
Yeah, 18 cents right there.
All right, let's move over to the Senate Republican side. Again, Ken Paxton. We got a Texas Attorney General, longtime ally of the president. And just a reminder, he did file the unsuccessful Texas v. Pennsylvania Supreme Court case and also spoke at the January 6th rally. So just to give you who we're talking about here. Then we have Texas Senator John Cornyn, who's had the seat since 2002, has record disapproval numbers in Texas. So that's why this is such a close race. And we also have Wesley Hunt, who is kind of new to the race. I've been pretty impressed with Wesley Hunt's persona. He's really well spoken. He finds a way to agree with Trump in every single way while not being as divisive. So he's actually been impressive. But if we look at the polling, Paxton has 27% in this Emerson College poll. Cornyn's got 26%, and Hunt's got 16%. So Hunt not really getting a chance here. Curious to see if we ever get a debate between the three. But I
Mhm.
think Paxton is the front runner. Although again, we saw those Paxton numbers in the general matchups. They're not amazing. So I think if you're a Texas Democrat, you're looking for Paxton to come out here, right?
Yeah, I mean, this has got Trumpiness written all over it to me. It's 29% undecided so far. You've got a 27-26% race support for either or. I think people are leaning towards Paxton just because we think he's the more Trumpy candidate. I mean, he's done the president's biting, but Trump hasn't endorsed yet. Trump hasn't come in and rode to his rescue. Is it because he's too busy doing other things, or is it because, people in the Senate are sitting there going, well, we're not doing so hot. Let's stay out of here. Stay out of this race. We've got Cornyn, who is a solid guy who does, he's been in the seat, as you said, since 2002. I mean, he's got better numbers against the Democrats, especially if Tallarico shows up in the general. Good guy versus good guy, if you will, versus Paxton and Crockett, who are two polar opposites on the spectrum, political spectrum here. I mean, it would be nice to see Hunt do something here. I mean, he's 10 points behind Cornyn.
The
There's a
runoff,
lot.
the runoff is going to make this complicated, right? Because Hunt
Yeah.
will assumably be lobbed off after March 3rd. And, that runoff comes right at the end of May.
Yep.
So we're probably not going to see Hunt, although if you had to guess who Hunt would endorse after he's lobbed off that first time around, it's probably Paxton and not
Yeah.
Cornyn.
Yeah.
So
And can you imagine the AstroTurf money in that runoff going for Paxton?
so true. I think that's one of those interesting pieces that people who don't necessarily follow politics really, really closely don't understand is you have Democratic super PACs donating to the Trumpiest of candidates on the Republican side and vice versa. It might not make sense to anybody but in the long run, it sometimes it pays off and sometimes it bites you in the butt. So
Yep.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I think the whom will Trump endorse in the 2026 Texas Republican Senate primary? Right now, Ken Paxton's at 32 cents. And we got reports this week that Trump is not going to endorse anyone. I really like the no on the Ken Paxton side, although I think this is a good time where we need to read the rules because, take, for example, the Michael Lindell endorsement by Trump.
Yeah.
It was an offhanded comment at a rally. He speaks for 4 hours at these rallies. He's bound to say something good about Paxton or, have some kind of endorsement. So here the rules state predict it will consider any statement to be an endorsement if President Trump unambiguously states that he is endorsing X candidate. So any statement, I'm going to stay off of the 68 cents for no on Ken Paxton just because he talks too much, Trump. But
I
it
mean,
is an interesting buy here.
it's true, and I would take it for more the sense that it'll be nothing, 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 and then you'll get close to the finish line. There'll be like 20 yards from the finish line, and Trump will come out and go, "Oh, I'm endorsing my great friend Ken Paxton and all the great things he's done for the state of Texas." And it'll be the day before the election, and you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah," and it's just gonna
100%.
like an
You're
anchor.
you're so right. You know what? Also, I think Trump wants to kind of see what the first round of voting does, and if Paxton is leading by a lot, he'll jump on that bandwagon. And you'll see this in upcoming races. Trump endorses when there is going to be a clear winner,
Yes, I
and
mean
doesn't when
he's
it's
he's
not.
he's got a track record of doing it. So I'd steer clear. This is one of those great Trump markets. It's like again to jump on your grave. You know, you think you got it, legislation, everybody's buttoned up, and the White House starts making some phone calls. Get everybody back in line.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely. So, just a quick overview of where all of the predicted markets stand. We have James Tallarico at 81 cents now over Jasmine Crockett, who's sitting at 19 cents. Huge lead for Tallarico. It's hard to buy at that price this early on. I know he was up 9 points in that early poll, but like you said, there's lots of undecideds. If you
yep.
think Jasmine Crockett's gonna like make some waves and say something interesting at that debate, maybe an interesting buy just to kind of ride it up a little bit and see if she can splash a good poll number right after that debate. But this is starting to become an untouchable market for me. Then we also have the Republican side of things. Ken Paxton sitting at 67 cents, Cornyn sitting at 31 cents, and Hunt sitting at 5 cents. I actually kind of like Cornyn here at 31 cents. What do you think?
I agree. It's like you gotta like take your political views and you have to like kind of check them at the door to a certain degree. I mean, I
Always.
can see the argument for Cornyn all day long. I mean, I'm sitting there wondering, is there somebody in the Senate, a certain John Thune, going, "Hey, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, can we leave this one alone? Did you see what they just did in Alaska? They've got a serious run there. Do you see what your polling numbers are? This is supposed to be easy for us. 2026 is supposed to be easy. The map favors us.
Yep.
Help us out here. Let's get
I
this guy
mean,
elected."
it's
I-
Texas. They're really sweating Texas. It's not it's
what have
not
things come
amazing.
to the Republican Party? I mean, it's
I'll be honest, if I had a crystal ball, I don't think it's going to be too close in Texas. I don't think the Democrats will have a crazy shot, but hey, we'll keep it interesting. We'll keep it interesting.
there's a lot of time left on the clock. I like to say that a lot. There's a lot of time on the clock. A lot of things can change.
Mhm.
It's but right now, the economy, what Trump is doing, focusing on the global side of things, forgetting about what's going at home to a certain degree. Uh, it builds up all this momentum for the opposition party, for the
Mhm.
Democrats to kind of, stake their claim, get their messaging right, and anything can happen.
Absolutely. I just think I don't think the Democrats are going to spend too much money or time in Texas and not make the Beto O'Rourke mistake again. I think their eyes are on Alaska, their eyes are on Ohio, some other places that make way more sense to spend more time and effort on. But Texas is interesting, okay? And let's go down the line. Let's get into some more interesting house races as well to mention, just the primaries themselves. Here comes baseball again. Texas's 21st district. We have former Yankee Mark Teixeira running in Texas 21st. I don't know too many of Mark Teixeira's political views. All I know is that after the killing of Renee Good this week, he said, "I stand with ICE." He's right now at 51 cents to win this primary against Trey Traynor. Uh, Mark Teixeira is a name. Interesting buy at 51 cents.
I mean, I was just saying, it's name value here all day long. This is inside baseball stuff at the moment.
Pun
No
intended.
pun intended.
Then we have Texas 31st district. That's where Valentina Gomez, you might have heard of, says the most inflammatory things versus John Carter, who was Trump endorsed. Not too much action on the predicted side of things, but I did want to mention that race as it's interesting. Moving along, we have Texas 31st on the Democratic side. Colin Allred, the former Senate candidate who dropped out to
Hmm.
basically allow Jasmine Crockett to run, is facing Julie Johnson, who recently got a lot of endorsements from House members, including Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader. Really interesting that Colin Allred was forced to drop out of the Senate race, moved over to Texas's 33rd, which was, gerrymandered to basically make that district perfect landing spot for him. And it looks like Julie Johnson going to take it from him, and Colin Allred's not going to have a job after after this.
That is so rough.
Such is life. Poor Colin. He clearly didn't make the right friends. That's all I have to
No,
say.
no, no.
And then we have Texas 2nd District, Dan Crenshaw, old name, but still around. He's close to 50-50 on our predicted market against Steve Toth, who's a Texas House member. He's primarying him from the right generally. There's no Trump endorsement here for or against Crenshaw. Crenshaw, again, is sitting at 55 cents. Steve Toth is sitting at 45 cents. I don't hate the Steve Toth buy here because I'm curious if Toth will actually win the endorsement from Trump later in the game. I know Trump's basically gone down and endorsed most candidates in a lot of these districts already, but he might do a swing back around and endorse. I don't think Dan Crenshaw has pissed off Trump yet, right? That's not a feud that I'm not aware of.
I don't think so. I mean, but he's also disappeared from relevance
Yes,
for the most part. I mean, he in Trump's first term, he was quite prevalent to a certain degree, more visible. I can't tell you the last time I read his name,
right.
except to get ready for this podcast,
You're welcome.
which I imagine doesn't bode well for his chances to a certain degree here.
At all. Not at all. All right, that wraps up Texas. Anything else for the what is it? The big state? What's the nickname for Texas, Mike?
The Lone
Thank
Star
you.
State.
Thank you. The Lone
Yes.
Star State. Sorry, Texans out
Yes.
there. Really, really
Oof.
apologize. Yeah, that was bad.
Oof.
Just want to mention North Carolina because they also are slated for March 3rd, although there's not really any competitive primaries to speak about. On the Senate side of things, this is almost definitely going to be Roy Cooper versus Michael Whatley in the general. This is a huge race for the Democrats, needing Roy Cooper to win this to have any shot at holding or recapturing the Senate.
Yep.
But just wanted to mention North Carolina as we move and we blow right through to Illinois on March
Cool.
17th with the Senate Democratic race between Raja Krishnamurthy and Juliana Stratton. There was, I think it's like an internal poll from Krishnamurthy's team that was released yesterday showing him up 25 points. Huge lead there. If we look at the predicted market, he's at 74 cents to Stratton's 20 cents. Just to give you some background here, Krishnamurthy, who I hadn't heard of until I dug into this race, has been the representative from Illinois' 8th congressional district, which is like the Chicago suburbs, since 2017. This was the district formerly held by Tammy Duckworth, who won Senate in 2016 by 15 points. And then on Juliana Stratton's side, she is the current lieutenant governor of Illinois, so won 2 different races on the same ticket as J.B. Pritzker, and was previously in the Illinois House of Representatives. Juliana Stratton has been endorsed by Pritzker and Tammy Duckworth, and has also, not single-handedly, but has won 2 different statewide races. So it's
Right.
really interesting to see her kind of flailing in this race. I don't know if things haven't heated up yet, and we might see some closer polling. Maybe Juliana Stratton's worth more than 20 cents, but judging by those polls, I don't know if she's worth more than 30 cents.
Well, it's interesting because there is an Emerson poll from just after the new year that has Pritzker, his job approval rating over 50%, but people only saying about 25% that they would follow his endorsement. In that same poll, Krishnamurthy is up 31-10 over Stratton. Granted, again, early days, in this case, 45 plus days. 46% undecided in that poll, which is a big number, but still, a 21 point lead at the moment. It's kind of this is definitely an interesting race to replace Senator Durbin, his seat. So I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, the Democrats are almost certain to hold here. Democrats are already at 99 cents to win that Illinois Senate race. It'll be interesting to hear a little bit more about the money, seeing, I guess, Krishnamurthy's probably raising a lot and kind of doing really good groundwork, although Stratton probably has faster connects to the large pocketbooks. So This race has a lot of time to kind of get interesting. Again, if I were to pick one side or the other, I'd probably land on Stratton at 20 cents. That's actually a pretty good price for the current lieutenant governor, who again has won two statewide races by 5 points ish, and
Yep.
has the endorsement of the current popular governor and also the former senator there. So I guess we'll see how this Illinois primary shakes out. But Garth, that's all for the March races. At some point, we will get into the May races. But what's your most interesting buy of all of the races that we've discussed?
It was interesting buy. I'd like to see. I like this Krishnamurthy market. I was looking at some of the polling data from this Emerson poll, and right now this is interesting to me. It's like he's got support has been driven by voters over 50, right? 42% of those who support congressmen are male. 41%, male primary voters. Okay, and then nearly half of those of women that were polled are 49% are undecided, and Stratton is the female candidate in this.
Right.
49% are undecided. 49% of the women that were polled. Wow, that you would think that would kind of go more her favor, especially if she's statewide. She's known, you know,
Yeah.
she's been given the seal of approval by the governor. She's won before. I think that's interesting. That, I mean, at the same time, the flip side of that is that Krishnamurthy's support is coming from the people who are going to respond to the polls, right? The older generation who are going to pick up the phone and they're going to answer these questions. So again, it comes back to that. We've got a lot of time left, and I think we need more data here to really sink our teeth in. But early signs makes this one kind of look like it's a slam dunk.
Mhm. I like it. Well, maybe I'll kind of bully you into putting it on your portfolio. Uh, can I? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wish his price was a little lower, but I'd like a bigger score. But yeah, okay, I like this one. I can jump in on that. Because I like the polling numbers enough that they say the people who are paying attention, and they like his message. They're saying, okay, this guy's got what we want, and that bodes well, I think.
All right, so I'm gonna put you down for $200 on the Stratton side. Is that what I'm hearing?
$200 on the Krishnamurthy side.
On the Krishnamurthy side.
Yeah,
Apologies. All right,
yeah,
perfect. So I got you down there. Not great margins just because he's already so expensive, but
yeah.
you see him up in a poll by 20 plus points. I get why you got to jump at it. My favorite buy here, I really like Mark Teixeira at 51 cents here. If you dig in, his district is formerly held by Chip Roy, who's currently running for Texas
AG.
AG. Right now at 60 cents in that GOP AG primary. Chip Roy, longtime ally of Ted Cruz. It seems like, very far right, House Freedom Caucus people. I think Mark Teixeira sounds like he's speaking the correct language here. And it's just name recognition really matters here. Texans know their baseball. They know Mark Teixeira. So I'm actually going to jump on Mark Teixeira, put me down for $100 at 51 cents for Mark Teixeira to win this primary. And now we have some fun house race action as well.
Good pick.
Beautiful. That wraps it all up. We will get to the May primaries in just a couple weeks. We have some upcoming really interesting interviews coming down the pipe, all new, all fresh. We're going to keep it interesting on the Predicted podcast here. Garth, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Of course. It was a pleasure.
Have a good one, everyone.